And here's Rick and Crystal with the Rick and Crystal Show.
Hey everybody, this is Rick from the Rick and Crystal Show. Good morning. Hello. I wanted to do a video for a long time about the Civil War, and I'm finally going to do it today. I love history. I don't think I'm too much different than a lot of guys. Love history, American history, world history, ancient history, history about Rome, what a believer like myself calls prehistory, ancient history, the creation of Adam and Eve, the garden, the length of time between that and the flood that covered the whole earth. That's called ancient history, prehistory, And then after the flood, we get our modern history, the disbursement of people and countries and tribes and languages. So we come to America, and untapped resources, fantastic, all the blessings that America provides, the mountains, the oceans. We have two coasts, north and the south, the differences in climate. It's just amazing, our country. We're very blessed to live in America. I mean, the grains, everything. You can grow oranges to corn and wheat and barley, and we have wineries, vineyards out in California. It's just amazing how we've been blessed. So for decades, I've been interested in the Civil War. This is an excellent book I bought. It's a companion to this documentary I saw probably almost 35 years ago. I remember watching this on PBS, public broadcast, channel 12 for us here in Illinois. It's Ken Burns. It was one of his, one of his first documentaries. But he did a bunch of great documentaries for PBS. I've watched a lot of them. I haven't watched all of them, of course, but quite a lot. The one on Prohibition, jazz. I love that one. I loved it so much about the CD collection that went with it. Country music, that was a good one. Prohibition, of course. And about everything you can think of. But I recommend this. This is a great place to start on your Civil War journey. It just takes you through the beginning to the end, Reconstruction and so forth. A lot of extra stuff, but it's a great way to start. You could probably watch it on YouTube or online, but I went ahead and bought this. You can find a lot of this stuff on eBay. It's remarkably inexpensive, just great prices. Now, of course, we all know about Lincoln, the movie with Daniel Day-Lewis. He just totally falls into the role, and it's a great movie. I really enjoyed this. We know we don't have any videos of President Lincoln or any of our, leaders, a couple hundred years ago. It just, the technology wasn't there. We don't have any photographs or video of a lot of historical, we have portraits and statues, and people have written down what they thought, they remember the people looking like or speaking, but except for historians and artwork, we're at a loss for our history. Without our history, who are we really? I mean, so this is a great movie. I recommend this. I'm sure you're familiar with Gone with the Wind. These can be controversial because they were made back in the 30s, and we had a lot of segregation back there between the races. So they can be controversial. It does put a more favorable light on the South, which is not reality, I mean, I'm sure if you're enslaved, and somebody's fighting to keep you enslaved, you're not going to be thrilled about it. I wouldn't, and I wouldn't fight for that army, but who knows what you'll do at the end of a stick or a gun, I mean, these people were slaves. They were property, But this is it's an interesting look. Almost, what would you say, 90 years ago, a little less than 90 years ago, what life was like, their interpretation of the conflict. The actress that plays Scarlett in here, Scarlett's just a detestable person. I just can't get around it. She's just so selfish and immature. It's just ridiculous. I don't see what Rhett saw in her. I bought the Alamo. You know, I just love this old stuff. You know, it's got you know, Billy Bob Thornton, Dennis Quaid in there. Dennis Quaid's awesome. He's a great actor. This is a good one. You know, gives you just, you know, I mean, we'll never know, right? We weren't there, but it gives you a little more realistic version of what may have happened. You know. And then I wanted to show you John Adams. This is a great. This is back in the Revolutionary War. You know, what would you say? Maybe less than 100 years, 90 years before the Civil War, but the Revolutionary War. It's really takes you into, you know, it's a little mini series. It takes the time to show you, you know, what was going on with John Adams and his family and politics and war and, you know, revolution. It's a really good movie. But what I wanted to show you was, I really enjoy this. I bought this. It was $48 on Amazon. I think eBay was comparable, you know. But let me show you what's in here. It's a numbered set, so, you know, take that for what it's worth. You have your collectibles in here. Let me show you what's in here. You have your brass, I think it's brass or copper, Lincoln coin. You have a huge battle map of where the battles took place, and a nice booklet and some more interesting stuff in here. You know, I enjoy this stuff. I don't buy everything that people make, but you know, this is right up Rick's alley. Just I love history. You know, I just love it. Now the movies we have in here are Gettysburg, which is a fantastic movie. You really enjoy this. Tom Berenger, Jeff Daniels, Martin Sheen. Jeff Daniels does a fantastic job. They're pretty historical. Their accuracy. It's pretty much on the money. I mean, these men that were called up to fight for the Union, for the South, but we're talking about the Union here. Some of them were professors, teachers, clerks. They worked in factories. You know, and it's just amazing. You know, some people really stand up to the call of duty. They just react and they respond, and they're natural leaders. Just amazing. Gods in General. This is another excellent one. I saw this over 20 years ago, and I just had to have the set, you know. But let me show you. This is what it looks like. See, and we'll put our collectibles back in there. And then that's what it looks like. And this was $48, and mine is number, can you see it down here? I'm getting too old. I need more light. But it's like number 40,000 of 100,000. So I'm guessing these weren't hot sellers, you know, which is fine, you know. I got mine. I mean, but I bet they thought they'd sell more than they did. I'm going to guess. But it really, these movies and these books, they really take you back to the life of what it was like, you know, during that time. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, yes, we have a lot of craziness going on in our country right now. But so far, nothing like the Civil War, you know, of 1860, 1861. And there's a reason to fight that war. The South, from what I surmise, I mean, obviously I don't know everything, but, you know, they were fighting for their states' rights. You know, it was their right. They were talking about how their economy would be devastated, you know, with the freeing of the slaves. That was their labor force, you know. And then you have to remember back in the 19th century, you know, the 1800s, everybody was making all kinds of machines and gadgets. I mean, you should see some of the stuff, the flying contraptions and automobiles, just the crazy gadgets. I mean, that's Americans, you know. I mean, we can come up with fantastic ideals to make something better, make it faster, make it cheaper. You know, I think it's a freedom that we have, you know, freedom of thought, freedom of action. I really enjoyed learning about, you know, Ulysses Grant, the Union general, and of course Sherman, the Confederate general, and I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Who do we have? Grant and Sherman's the general up in the north, and just a fantastic guy. I mean, it just blows you away. This is him. This is him right here. He's got a scruffy beard on him out in the field. William Tecumseh Sherman. He's the one with Grant, who's Grant's right arm. He thundered down through Georgia. He's the one that burnt Atlanta to the ground, and they marched to the coast. They couldn't get the rebels to surrender. They wouldn't quit. So what do? You have to bring the fire and thunder. It's amazing, isn't it, that our country went to war. Now, I watched that movie last year. Well, it came out last year. I watched it this year, Civil War. And they're selling the 4K version for $28, and they can keep it until the price drops. I'm not paying $28 for Civil War 4K. I don't care. It's not worth $28. It's a okay movie, but it's not 2001: A Space Odyssey or Wizard of Oz. No. It's just a movie. But it is pretty interesting watching what would happen in Civil War now, with the technology we have now and the weapons the government has. I mean, you can't win if you go against the government. I mean, for God's sakes, they have fighter jets and battleships, atomic bombs, nuclear bombs. I mean, you can't fight against the government and win, period. You're just not. Now, what happened in the movie Civil War that came out last year, the states seceded, and they took their jets and the equipment they had and launched an attack on Washington. When I watched that movie, Civil War, the one that came out last year, the reporters, I mean, I really liked it because it was kind of a truthful, honest movie. It didn't put anybody in a great light, just one or two characters, but the reporters were just horrible, self-seeking, pleasure, excitement-seeking. Get the shot, get the picture or the video at all costs. And at the end, I won't spoil it, but at the end, it's just, I saw the end, I was like, damn, it just seems so cold to me, the way the characters ended. But it's what you would expect. But I have to say, the Civil War, this box set I got, this is a great place to start. Like I said, these are $48 on Amazon, and I really enjoy mine. I'm still going through all the extra. Then I would recommend PBS, Ken Burns' The Civil War documentary. This is great. I mean, they really bring it to life. It's not dull. It's not boring. My wife would argue with me, but as a guy, no, it's not dull. It's not boring. They really bring the material they have to life. I mean, you got to remember, they have photographs. That's what they have from the Civil War photograph. There's no video, there's some phonograph records. They've made recordings of veterans, speaking, but it's so many young men died. So many men went off to fight in that war and never came home, to their wives and children, their parents. And it was a changing time in America. From what I've read and watched, before the Civil War, most of these young men lived on farms, out in the country. Our country was yet to be fully discovered and everything. I mean, they were still, fighting Indian attacks and everything, but the young men that went and fought in this, a lot of them were from farms in the North and the South, and they didn't know anything else, and they'd never been around diseases. In the Civil War, disease and illness killed more soldiers than their wounds. I mean, it's just crazy, And of course, they had to feed these soldiers, I think it was a whole different life back then, You're talking about men that knew how to hunt, knew how to fish, knew how to live on the land. And compare that to now. It makes you wonder, with all the crap in our food and the air and pollution and everything, how were they back then? How was their mind? How were their bodies, their antibodies in their immune system? They drank well water. I mean, these guys were hunting and fishing, eating wild game. And, of course we have businesses and so forth back then, but, it's, you live on a farm, you're around animals and birth and dying all the time, and you're very grounded, But for these boys just going to that hell, And the soldiers, I don't know if America could handle a war like that now. You look at some of these battles, 12,000 soldiers died in one battle. Just some of these horrendous battles, just the deaths are staggering. Trying to bury and identify all these soldiers, it's mind-blowing. I don't think the country would tolerate, America kind of freaks out if 5 or 10 of our soldiers are killed somewhere around the world. Which brings us to the last part of my Civil War talk. I think we could very well be like ancient Rome, in our decline or our imminent fall, because we seem to have troops and bases all around the world. We seem to be spread out everywhere, while inside it seems to me, I've been working my whole life, I'm retired, it seems to me our country's kind of crumbling. That, we shouldn't have all these homeless people and this drug epidemic, and whatever side you're on, we can't have an open border in a country. I mean, you can't have these people pour into this country who don't share our values. We're America. How can we tolerate someone who's against us, who wants to bring our downfall, who wants to destroy our country? We can't have these people in here running around. And you just can't. You look at Great Britain, England. What does it mean to be an Englishman, anymore? I mean, I don't see how they're going to keep their culture in a couple decades. I mean, we have nations for a reason. People have their homeland where they grew up. We have our homeland. I grew up in the Midwest. I don't have a problem moving away, but it's kind of late at this stage of the game to move, isn't it? But I think we should be grateful and appreciate our blessings in this country, because we've got so much. It's a beautiful country. We can grow our food. We can make almost anything we need here, self-sufficient. Our oil, our crops, our springs, our lakes, our waters, the mountains. It's an amazing country. And I think so many people take it for granted, But it makes you wonder about these men that fought and died in the Civil War. They fought to keep the Union together. Some of these soldiers may not have gave one whit about the slavery issue, but for the slaves, it was very important. It was priority number one. I can't believe slavery went on until 1860. I mean, it is mind-boggling, isn't it? We brought that over here from England. I mean, it's just, it's a curse. It's a black stain on our history. It is, to enslave another race. You can choose to like or not like whoever you want. Freedom of thought, freedom of expression. But you look at the big picture, we're all in this together. All of us men, no matter what we look like, we're all men. All the women, no matter how different you are, you're all women. And we're all in this big ball together. And we don't ever want to see a civil war like this. A lot of countries have had civil wars. You look at France, they've had a lot of revolutions. Russia, they had the Great Revolution after World War I. And, many times you see the monarchies or the royals or the people in power, they don't care, or it seems they don't care about the people that they're ruling, the peasants, the masses, they call us. And you can see it now. I mean, I can see it in America. I'm sure there's these people that are up in high places. They look at us like cattle, like sheep. But all of us have a life to live. Every one of us. Just like these soldiers that fought and died. That was their life, They died at 18 or 19 or 20, 17. And, that was their life, fighting in a battle, a great battle in this country, Our country's together. Lincoln kept this country together. His great victories, the defeats, just almost 1 million men died. It's just mind-numbing. It's incredible. It is incredible. But if you watch this Civil War documentary, you're going to learn so much. You're going to learn about the Red Cross, how it was formed after that. It's just amazing, the statistics you find out. But I know it's a long talk, but it's a momentous year. We got this polarizing election, and it's 2024, and wars all over the world right now, and possible World War III coming up, and we don't know. I mean, I see it, just my understanding of history and politics, what's going on now in the world. I think we're going to get into another world war. I just think I think all the groundwork's being laid now, and people are taking sides, countries, and it's going to be bad. I mean, China makes about everything we use, so just imagine if China quits shipping stuff over here, What do you do then? Have all your tariffs and call President Xi a dictator and everything else, but if we get most of our stuff from China, that's kind of ignorant, isn't it? And this thing with Russia and Ukraine, I don't care. I don't care about Ukraine. Ukraine used to be part of Russia. That's Europe's problem. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. We have problems over in America. I don't care. And Taiwan used to be part of China. Okay, that's their deal. Let them deal with it. I'm really tired of us getting into all these wars. We don't need to stick our finger into everybody's business. But like I said, it was a whole different world back then. If you think about Civil War, it was a whole different world back then. And that world's lost. That world's gone. We'll never go back to the pre-Civil War life. Thankfully, slavery's ended. Thank you for that. And I'm not speaking about the slavery issue. I'm just thinking about how life was like for a guy like me back then, growing up on a farm, and then you have this Civil War. It was devastating to so many cities and families. But I encourage you guys to check this out. I think it's good to understand our history, and I just think you'll enjoy it. And thanks for watching, and hope you guys have a great day, and we'll have to see what these crazy elections have. I'm Rick, and I'll talk to you later.